So, dear students, we are going to see the Unit 3 of 8086, which is Memory and I/O interfacing. So, what is memory? You know, memory is a very important and essential component of any processor. So, memory can be a RAM, ROM, or whatever, and it can be a inbuilt memory which is on the board, or the off-chip memory, on chip or off chip. So I/O input output devices. So both memory and I/O, how is it interfaced with the 8086 plays a crucial role. How you are mapping your memory and I/O devices. So that is what we are going to see in this PPT. So what is memory interfacing? Interfacing the memory card, it can be a bit, byte, or GB card. You know, you have your mobile phone, and if you want to add an additional card along with that for its interfacing, then it is said to be memory interfacing. For that, both the memory and microprocessor need to communicate with some important registers and signals. So what is that and how it can be happen, that is what we are going to see. So I/O interfacing with input output devices with the 8086. So 8-bit data line port address is just a 16-bit, and data bit is 8-bit, and the control signals according to the 8086 processor. So that's a memory interfacing and a device interfacing. So if you want to integrate with communication devices like keyboard, mouse, etc., it need to be interfaced with the 8086 for its proper operation. So that is done by I/O interfacing. When I come to memory organization, we know that 8086 is having a 1 megabyte of memory, that is a 2 power 20 of its address lines, which gives me 1 MB. But that 1 MB cannot be accessed by 16 address lines which is physically available. So what we do is memory can be divided into two independent 512 kilobyte of bank, which is called lower bank and higher bank. Lower bank is also called even bank, and the higher bank is also called odd registers bank. Okay, so when you look at into the diagram, you can see the first diagram picture shows that it is 8086 of having 1 megabyte of memory with 20 address lines A0 to A19. That can be divided into two. In the next diagram, you can see a high odd register and even register bank. The odd register bank, 0, 1, 0, 3, 0, 5, all the odd registers, all the odd memory locations will be placed in a higher registers, which is called odd bank, and all the even registers, even memory locations are placed in the register called even bank or low bank. I am segregating all the 512 MB, 1 MB into 512 KB of odd register bank and even register bank. You can see that both the registers can be accessed with A1 to A19, and data bus is given fully D0 to D7 for the lower bank, and D8 to D15 for the higher bank. You can see a very important signal called BHE. You know that already. BHE stands for bus high enable. So that bus high enable determines which bank you people are accessing. Going to the next slide, you can clarify it later. So BHE is 0 and A0 is 0. A0 is nothing but the last bit of your address line. If both are 0, then you can choose. The entire register can be odd and also even. If BHE is 0 and A0 is 1, you can access only the odd bank. If both are 1 and 1, no registers can be chosen. It becomes virtually not available. Okay. So BHE bus high enable pin is used to provide what memory bank you people are going to access. Okay, and we will discuss how to draw the memory interfacing now. Take a problem. So how to implement 32K cross 16 using 32K cross 8. So 16 is my data bus, 32K is my address bus, memory location content. Okay, so for 32K memory location, we know that we are in need of 15 address lines. So 2 power 15 is approximately 32K. So A0 to A14 address lines, that is 15 address lines I am going to use. That's the first step to be decided. How many address lines you are going to use for the memory interface? So that must be mapped by checking the memory content 32K. So 32K 2 power 15 is 32K. So memory address lines used is A0 to A14. Okay. So 32 available IC is 32K cross 8. Using that, I need to design 32K cross 16. So two ICs are required. One is 32K cross 8 and another 32K cross 8. You can label both as EEPROM 0 and EEPROM 1. Okay, and assume that we know that 15 address lines are going to be used. So A0 to A15, again the same A0 to A15 must be given to the lower EEPROM also. Okay, so after given the address lines, two control signals CE and OE. CE stands for chip enable, OE for output enable. Output enable is also called as a read. Since it is just a EEPROM, only read option is available, not the write. Otherwise, if it is a RAM, you have to include one more signal called write. So CE, both the CEs are connected. CE of upper EEPROM and the lower EEPROM both are connected and given to a signal called CS chip select. We have seen in the pin diagram of 88SX. So that you give it to CS, and similarly connect both the OE of two ICs and give it to memory read. We know that the memory interfacing, we are going to interface with the memory. So to read we have seen in the second unit itself, memory read and IO read. Since it is a memory interfacing, give this to OE, connect both the OE and give it to memory read, MEMI. Coming to the output of two ICs, the first IC, the upper EEPROM gives me the D0 to D7, the lower order data bus, and the lower EEPROM gives me the higher order data bus D8 to D15. So finally I got all the 16 output lines at a single time. That is why both the chip selects are selected and it is given same chip select. If I need to access a single IC at a single time, one time, and the next IC in another time, I must give different chip select. That will be seen in the next example. Okay, so if I give same chip select for both the ICs or both the EEPROM, that means at a single time both will get activated and I will get all the 16 outputs. So 32K cross 8, now it becomes 32K cross 16, and that is mapped with my 8086. So CS, MEMR, all the pins are coming from 8086. So this is one of the example. And may go for one more example. If it is 1024 into 4 bits, that means 1024 is approximately 1K. So 1K into 4 bits is my available IC. So using that I need to design 2K byte. So that means the 2K cross 8. So again, as usual, the first step is to determine how many address lines I need. So the address lines I need is a 2K, right? So 2K means, I'm sorry, available IC must be I consider. What is available IC? 1024, that is 1K. So 1K means I need 10 address lines. So remember A0 to A9 is the address lines I must use. Okay, A0 to A9 is my address lines. So look it into the diagram. You can see that the upper two the upper two memory ICs, it is not mentioned whether it is a RAM or ROM. So I don't mind whether it's going to read or write. I'm just going to draw the memory content and how it is interfaced with 8086. That's it. If it is mentioned as ROM and RAM, you have to give the control signals called read and write also. Okay. Since it is not mentioned, just the signal chip select is enough. Right. So the upper two the upper two block is going to give me the 1K cross 8. 1K cross 8. You can see first one is 1K cross 4 and the second the top one is 1K cross 4, and both are having different chip select. Both are going to have same chip select. Okay, same chip both the chip selects are connected and given to A10. Okay, I'll tell you why that A10, but both ICs are giving same chip select, so both are going to activate it at a time. So I'll get 1K cross 8. But coming to the lower down ICs, they are having a different chip select, so they will be activated at different time. So I'll get 2K cross 8 then. Okay, if both ICs are activated at a time, data bus will be added, and if both ICs are activated at different time, memory content will be doubled. So 1K plus 1K 2K. So finally I get 2K cross 8. What is my question? Right, and we know that the available IC needs 10 address lines, so A0 to A9 I given to all the ICs, and the remaining the last is A10 address line I have, that I can use for chip select. So for enabling the top two ICs, inverted A0 is given, and for enabling the down two ICs, a simple A0 is given without inversion. So I have given two different chip select for enabling four different ICs at a different time. Top two IC at one time and bottom two ICs at another time. And finally, looking at the output, the top ICs give me D0 to D15, D0 to D7 at one time, and D8 to D15 at another time. Finally, I got 2K cross 16 memory interfacing. That is how it goes. You can see one more examples later. And coming to interfacing IO devices, two types. One is isolated map and the next is memory mapped. Isolated map means it is like it is having a separate memory accessing mapping in a separate configuration. It is not mapped with your IO. It is not going to use your memory of 8086. It is mapped separately along with IO devices. Memory mapped IO means it is mapped along the memory content of 8086. A part of the memory of 8086 is used to mapping the respective IO devices. That is memory map. Each and every one has its own pros and cons. You can see what are the advantages and disadvantages of each and every one. So finally, first we go for isolated IO. Again, it is not involving the 8086 memory, so you can easily debug it. The instructions which is used for IO interfacing using isolated content is in and out instructions, because we are mapping separately with input output devices, so in and out instructions must be used over here. And advantages is the entire memory of 8086 can be used for data content, and special instructions like in and out is used. But the disadvantages, all the input and output must transition must be done between the IO and the accumulator, and the accumulator in the memory, so it takes a long procedure. So this is the way I have a input output devices, and all are port address. I can connect nearly 536 2 power 16 65525 port addresses in the 8086. Coming to memory mapped, a part of the memory is assigned for interfacing, so no need of any special instructions called in and out. IOR and IO write can be the instructions which can be used, but only 16-bit addresses they are used, not an entire 20-bit address. The port address is only 16-bit. So 2 power 16, 65,536 port devices can be connected. You can see here, this is my memory of 8086, which is shared with IO devices transfer. So what are the differences between, as we said, in and out of the special instructions? Here move, exchange, all those instructions which is used for 8086 can be accessed for IO transfer also. And this is faster, isolated, since no need of accessing the memory. But memory mapped, you have to move the data into the accumulator and then to the register, so it is slower. So all those advantages and disadvantages you can see, and these are the examples of interfacing IO devices. And I consider the output port, it is writing in the microprocessor is writing into the LED, whatever the LED number of LEDs you connected. So when I talk about input port, if I am connecting an input port, so input port is reading, your 8086 is reading from the input port. So RD is my pin which is coming from 8086, and as usual D8 to D6, D0 to D7, all the 8 address line data lines are used for accessing the peripheral, that is a port. Okay, so that is all about memory and IO interfacing. Thank you.